Hello and welcome to Blytheway Business News. Today I'm joined by Steve Curtis, Chief Executive of Caledonia Mining Corporation. Caledonia listed on both the New York Stock Exchange and the AIM market in London with a ticker of CMCL, market capitalization of around 139 million. Caledonia operates the producing gold mine, the Blanket Mine in Zimbabwe, and this morning the company's announced its year-end results. After a successful operational year, they've also demonstrated strong financial performance. So, Steve, welcome back on the show. Can you give us a quick run through the highlights, please?
Yes, thank you, Tim. Yeah, Tim, as you rightly say, a strong operational result. And in a time when we've got a good gold price, we needed to produce good financial results. And as ever, Blanket, as a good operation, well-run operation, low-cost operation, has done exactly that. So having produced nearly 58,000 ounces of gold last year, which was a record, we hit a $100 million turnover, which was a 32% increase on the previous year. Out of that, we produced a gross profit of $46 million, which was a 50% increase. Our adjusted earnings per share was 41% higher than the previous year, and that was at 204 cents. And over the last 12 months, we've managed to increase our dividend 4 times, and that came in with a cumulative increase of 60%. And we are currently sitting at 11 cents a quarter. And I think that is a result well delivered from a good operational side, but again, demonstrating good cost control, good disciplines, and inside of a year where we finished equipping the central shaft, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But yes, Tim, a great financial set of results, in my opinion.
Well, as you say, Steve, it's a record year, a record production of gold in a year which is, let's face it, the world has been suffering with the COVID pandemic. You're operating in Zimbabwe, not always the easiest place to operate. And you have produced this record year. Now, one analyst I've read this morning is putting it down to a great effort by the management team. I mean, is it as simple as that? I don't. You probably want to blow your own trumpet, Steve, but is it management, or are there other factors which set Caledonia and the Blanket Mine aside from everybody else?
Well, let's remember that during COVID, with hard lockdowns in South Africa and Zimbabwe and at the mine, management didn't get to physically put feet on the ground for many months. So let's give credit where credit is due. And Caxton Mangezi, the general manager at the mine, and his team have delivered a fantastic operational result. Obviously, Dana Roots, our COO, has been very closely involved, but remotely. But it just shows that the training programs that Caledonia did at Blanket have delivered the results. Really just a combination of putting the right foundations in place at the right time and being able to rely on a fantastic in-country team. And we've delivered a great result. Now, COVID was there, yes. Sort of this time last year, it all started for us in the Southern African region. And Blanket went into a hard lockdown. Caxton had to implement some pretty stringent controls to protect the staff. We did manage to get through the whole of 2020 with only one COVID case on the property. We have had subsequently this year with the second wave, we've had about 30 cases, but we've got no active cases at the moment. We've had no real illnesses. So again, we're lucky. We've worked hard to protect our staff. And during that time, with COVID, there were other people who needed help as well. And Blanket managed to help the Chamber of Mines in Zimbabwe with some rather significant donations to help them with their efforts of buying equipment and PPE and the necessary medical equipment that was distributed where it needed to be. And we in our local area managed to do some work through our CSR projects. We renovated a number of schools. We built an isolation center at one of the clinics, the Pakama Clinic in the local area. We built an isolation center that had 2 wards, an ablution facility and a kitchen facility. And, while all of this was going on, Caxton was equipping a shaft. He was doing record production. that just speaks volumes of the quality of management that Caledonia has got at the mine and the quality of Caledonia's management that was able to manage remotely. So I'm very, very proud of the teams.
Well, as you said, Steve, it's a record year in a difficult year, and produced from, let's call it, the traditional infrastructure at the Blanket mine. You alluded to the fact there that you've now got the central shaft. The commissioning of the central shaft is on the horizon, which is going to be, I guess, transformational for Caledonia. But just remind listeners and viewers what the central shaft means for Caledonia.
Yes, of course. Yes, so commissioning will be finished this quarter. Let's remember it's a 1,200 meter deep shaft, 4 compartments. It has got much higher capacity than the old number 4 shaft, which was our only operating shaft at Blanket Mine, which only went down to 750 meters. So being able to go to 1,200 meters, we can go much deeper. We can access the deeper ore bodies. We have built infrastructure and done development. So we are effectively building a new mine underneath the old mine. And what it'll mean is that as we start transitioning material moving from 4 shaft to central shaft, we will have 2 shafts, and we will run 2 shafts for a period of time until central shaft is really spinning like a Swiss timepiece. We will run 2 shafts, so we'll be able to move some of the waste material that was coming up of 4 shaft to central shaft. That will free up capacity at 4 shaft, which will enable us to mine more material, get more reef up to the plant, and that will enable us to ramp up production from last year's 58,000 ounce to the guidance that we're putting out this year of sort of 61 to 67,000 ounces. It's not a dramatic ramp up if you consider that our target is 80,000, but it's going to be a gradual ramp up. But as we get into Q3 and Q4, then Dana and Caxton will have the team operating at a run rate that will deliver an 80,000 ounce per year gold production. It just gives us flexibility. It gives us some more security. And with our ability to go deeper, we can ramp up production. And we've now got a life of mine extending out to about 2034. And, all in all, that paints a really good picture for the Blanket Mine in Zimbabwe at a time when gold price is high. So we are very excited about the future. It's no mean feat. So let's not count the chickens before they hatch. Ramping up is a challenge. Commissioning a new shaft is a challenge. But I've got absolute confidence in this team. They've proven themselves time and again to be up to the challenge. And I look forward to sharing the good news as and when it comes out.
Steve, you've mentioned the central shaft being commissioned very, very soon, and that's going to be transformational for Blanket, because the other big development in the last 12 months has been you've been looking beyond Blanket Mine in Zimbabwe, and you've now got 2 other properties, Glenhume and Connemara North, which I understand are early stage exploration. Can you give us an update on what's happening there? And also this other thing you're doing, the solar plant project. But let's start with Glenhume and Connemara. Bit of detail there, please.
Yes, of course. Yes, we've always said that we want to now move on from being a single asset operation to a multi-asset operation so that we can build Caledonia into sort of a mid-tier gold producer. So the first 2 steps are signing the exploration option agreements on Glenhume and Connemara. That allows us to have exclusive exploration rights for somewhere between 15 and 18 months on the properties, and then we can decide whether we want to exercise the options and actually purchase the properties for fixed prices, which is nice. So the Glenhume property has got drill rigs on it at the moment, and we're doing some RC drilling and some diamond drilling. Those results will be collated, run through assay labs, and we will analyze the results of that against the geological model that we are developing for Glenhume. So Glenhume is full steam ahead. Connemara North is at an earlier stage. The sort of conceptual design of what the exploration program will look like is taking place at the moment, again with the help of outside consultants, based on what we know about the properties, because these are brownfield properties. So there is something known about, so we can be more specific about where we direct our exploration. So Connemara is in the deep planning stage, and we will get going and we'll have drill rigs on site rather sooner than later. Then we have the solar farm, which is a project we announced last year. We raised funding for it last year, so it's fully funded. It's ready to go. We have issued the instruction to proceed to the contractor, and the site is cleared, and the final designs are completed and signed off. So COVID has abated a little bit, so we can start really getting people and some of the materials onto site. Yeah, we've probably got a 12-month build cycle to bring this 12 megawatt plant into operation. So this time next year, we will be the proud owners of a very nice, clean energy 12 megawatt solar farm, which will provide about 27% of Blanket's total needs only during daylight hours. But we will own the project, and it'll give us the option to decide when and if we want to ramp it up to a larger scale, and if we wanted to put some sort of storage facility capacity attached to it. At the moment, so we'll be running on grid power, diesel generators, and the solar farm this time next year. It's a big step in our opinion towards our responsibility towards the environment, cost controls, and just being a very good corporate citizen. We're very excited about this solar project.
Okay, Steve, just to conclude, we've talked about gold production ultimately being the 80,000 ounces once Central Shaft is fully commissioned, and you've already told us about the increased guidance for 2021. In the coming months, what else should we be looking out for from Caledonia?
Well, you'll get to hear about the final sort of commissioning that is now done and behind us. So that'll be rather sooner than later. You will get some update information on the solar farm. But then importantly, in the next couple of weeks, you'll hear about another dividend declaration by Caledonia. We declare dividends on a quarterly basis, and the next declaration is due very early April. So the board will be considering that based on the fact that we've had a very satisfactory set of production results. We're confident about the way forward. We've already increased dividends 4 times so far in the last 12 months. So I'm very excited about the conversation with the board about the next dividend declaration. And we really do look forward to announcing that to the market. So the next few months is going to have some interesting news, and what I really do consider in these times, some very encouraging news about sustaining dividends, growing dividends, and just demonstrating that even against the backdrop of a pandemic, good businesses can thrive and deliver value for shareholders.
Steve Curtis, thank you very much. Good businesses can thrive and deliver value for shareholders. What a great sign-off line. That was Steve Curtis, Chief Executive of Caledonia Mining, Caledonia Mining Corporation, to give it the full title. Caledonia, as I said, listed on the New York Stock Exchange and the AIM market, ticker of CMCL. That's it for today from Blytheway Business News. Thanks for listening in.